Alright, identifying and collecting like terms. Right, first up I'd like you to copy down the definition of like terms and have a look at the example here. Identify the like terms in this list. So we're going to look at the variables first. So we've got a t here and a t here. So those are like terms. The other two like terms are the w squareds. So we've got 5w squared and 4w squared. Then we've got 9v and 8v because they both have a v in them. Right, identify like terms in the list below. So let's have a look at this one here. Looking at our variables first, we've got x and x. So these ones are like terms. There's no more x's in our list. Let's have a look. We've got a y cubed here, y to the power of 3. We've got another one here. So those are like terms. And we've got a 5z and an 8z. Right, with this next one down below, it can sometimes be a bit tricky finding like terms and saying why two terms aren't alike. So let's have a look at some of these ones. First one, 3a, 5a. These ones are like because they both have an a in them, and that's all they have. The next one, negative 2b and b, they've got the same variable of v. Now with c, we've got 12x, but it's also joined with an y, so that's 12xy, that's one term by itself. And the next one is 4x. So those aren't like because they've got different variables. So look at the next one, we've got 8ab squared and 3a squared b. At first glance these look the same, but in the first one the b squared, in the second one the a squared, so they're different variables. In E we've got 9xx and 7x squared. These are actually the same because you wouldn't actually write 9xx unless you're maybe an engineer. You would actually write 9x squared, which is the same as 7x squared. Okay, the next one with f, our variable is x cubed y to the power of 4, and the next one has x cubed y to the power of 4. So those are both like terms there. For g, we've got h and negative h, so they're both h, both like terms. The next one, we've got gh, but we've got gh squared for the next one, so those aren't like terms. Right, pause the video here and have a go at some of these questions. So let's look at this first one. Identify the like terms in the list. We've got a y here. Where else do we have a y? We've got one here. Remember, we're just looking for a y by itself. And we've got a y there. There's no other y's by themselves. So they're all like terms. We have a xy. No. So that's the only one of those. So that one doesn't have any like terms. We have an x squared y. That's not an x squared y. And the last one is an x squared y. So those are like terms. We have a xy squared. And that's the only xy squared. And then we've just got x by itself, which are those ones. Right, looking at y, x squared y and xy squared aren't the same. If you wrote it out in full, x squared y and x, y squared, you can easily see how they're different. For b, why are 8y and 8xy not like terms? The first one, 8y, is just y by itself, and you're changing it a lot if you add an x onto the front, you're timesing it by x, so that's making it a completely different term. Provide your own like term for 4xy. Now the easiest way to do this is doubling the number out the front. But you could do anything to that number out the front to change it. You could have 6xy, negative 4xy, a whole range. Alright, combining like terms, I'd like you to pause the video and copy that down into your books. Now the whole point of combining like terms is so we can make our algebraic expressions easier, which will make solving them a lot easier in the future. So in the first one, we've got 8x and 2x. So all up, that's going to give us 10x. 5ab minus 8 is going to give us negative 3 lots of ab. And this last one here, we can't actually add them because they're not like terms. One's xy and one's just x. Alright, pause the video here. I want you guys to have a go at this. So with these ones, can the following be added or subtracted? Well, they can only be added or subtracted if they contain like terms. So the first one has an A and an A, so that's a yes. B has an AB and a B. Are they like terms? No, so they can't be added or subtracted. C has an XY, XY, so like terms, yes, they can be. B and B, yes. XY, X squared Y, no. XYZ, XYZ, yes. A squared and A by itself, no, they're different. X, 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 yes. Alright, have a look at these ones here below. Combine any sets of like terms. Now remember, we can only add them or subtract them if they contain like terms. So first one, an A and an A, yes. So 5 and 3 is 8, so 8A all up. 12 minus 5 is 7, so 7xy. 8b minus 1b, 7b. 12 minus 13 is negative 1. Then you're just going to add your x, y, z on the end. 9 plus 2 minus 5 is 6, and they're all x's, so 6x. Okay, here's the next one here. Combine the following. We have 3x plus 4x, 3 plus 4, these are both like terms. 3 plus 4 is 7, so 7x. For b, 8y minus 2y, they're both like terms, so 8 minus 2 is 6y. AB, AB, like terms for the question C. 12AB plus 3AB is going to give us 15AB. A and A are like terms, so 9A minus 1A is going to give us 8A. XY squared, XY squared. 15 minus 6 is 9 XY squared. 30 ABC plus ABC gives us 31 ABC. 8A plus 4A minus 3A gives us 9A. And this next one, we've got YZ squared, YZ squared, YZ squared, all like terms. So 12 minus 5 plus 3 gives us 10 YZ squared. 6AB minus 4AB gives us 2AB minus 7AB will take us all the way down to negative 5ab. You may need to play out your number lines from last term to help you with that one if you need to. 35GH plus 19GH minus 24GH will give us 30GH. Right, here's a handy set of steps to follow when simplifying an expression. So you can copy those down into your books, pause the video if you need to. Okay, this first one here, just look at the numbers first. 8 times 4, which is going to be 32. Then A times B, AB. With B, we've got 12 times 3, coefficients first, which is 36. XY times X. So let's just look at the X's first. Let's do it out the full way. X times X times Y. So it'll give us 36. X times X is X squared, Y. Okay, another way you may be given these questions is you'll be asked to simplify, which just means pretty much solve them. So 8 times the coefficients will give you 24, then X times Y, XY. 15 times 4 give you 60. A times A times B. So we'll give you 60 A squared B. 9AB times 5BC. So 9 times 5, 45. We're going to have A times B times B times C, which will give us 45 A, B times B, we can simplify to B squared, and C. Okay, the next one here, we're going to have 4 times 2 times 3. 4 times 2 is 8 times 3, which will give us 24. We'll have an X, so any other X's? Yes, there's one here, times X times Y times the other Y over here times Z times Z. So that's going to give us 24. X times X is X squared. Y times Y is Y squared. Z times Z is Z squared. Alright, have a go at doing some of these yourself before I do them up. So pause the video, have a go at doing some of them. Alright, simplify each expression. 5A times 4B. So numbers out the front first. 5 times 4, 20. A times B, AB. 6xy times 5y. So numbers first. 6 times 5 gives us our 30. X times, there's no other x's, and y times y, y squared. 9 times 3 for the first one, 27. A times A squared. B times B, B squared. And C's by itself. With D, we've got 7 times 8, 56. E times E, E squared. F times F, F squared. and G by itself. Alright, and there's the answers for the second set. You may start to notice there's a bit of a pattern that you may be able to see. Now if you look here with, let's say, this one here, we've got a squared, so that's to the power of 2. We've got another a squared here, so that's to the power of 2, and we're timesing them. And look at our result. Both those 2's added and we've got a 4. Look at the b's. We've got one that's to the power of 3. This one doesn't have a number here, but we don't write it if it's a 1, so that's a 1 there. 3 plus 1 gives us a 4. So if we're multiplying and it's got the index up there, all we're doing is adding that index if they're the same variable. But we may go into that a bit more later on. Alright, I want you to pause the video here and have a go at doing this section. We'll call it you do. And then check your answers. Push play and check your answers. Okay, you'll notice these ones, none of them contained like terms. So when you're multiplying them, like in this case down here with J, A times B times C, this is going to come out as ABC. And then the numbers out the front, 2 times 4 times 1, it's going to give you your 8. Okay, in your book for this next section, copy down the steps for dividing terms. And there's a handy example up the top here.